Hi everyone. Today we're going to speak about the contextualization tool when we use it for Unit 4, Day 1. This is the beginning of the conversation. It's probably going to take us a little bit, but here's what I want you to do. And it's going to sound crazy, especially because your teacher may introduce this differently, but here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to think about this. What if I took a nap for like a few years? I don't know, someone gave me a cave, transformed me into some sort of human grizzly bear, and I passed out, I don't know, 5 years. I woke up and I came out in March of 2020 and there was no one on the street. I managed to magically walk home from my cave, have your imagination going here right now. And I was confused. I somehow had a magically charged phone and I called you, unless I found a payphone. That would be weird. What would you say to get me up to speed or explain to you what's going on if I asked why, if I do see people on the street and they kind of look at me weird, I get it, but I thought for a while, but why are people wearing masks? And what's this Zoom thing? I finally got home and it says that I need to teach remote or something. So now what I want you to think about is how you'd explain the situation, but what's even more important, and I want you to pause the video and think for a minute, but why would you need to explain to me why people are wearing masks and what Zoom is? So let's stop for a minute. You're going to think. Pause it. Come on, think. Okay, great. You spent some time thinking. Now, what I want you to do now is say, hey, here's what I thought about. You need to explain to people who wear masks because until the COVID pandemic came around, we weren't really walking around masked. I mean, there were some people if they, were sick or were scared they're going to spread something, but generally no. And Zoom, yes, business had it, but like Zoom and Google Meet and all that, no one was really using it because we weren't social distancing, right? So you would have to explain that to someone who wasn't around. When your teacher starts speaking about contextualization, it's the process they're going to explain to you, and they may even give you a slide that looks just like this, that it's the process of constructing a narrative. And whenever we think about history, we have to contextualize. They're going to talk about looking around history, the forces that acted on history, the forces that think about this one, made the source. It says act upon the source, meaning made the source write what they wrote or did what they did or act the way they acted, right? And it says there's intellectual, social, economic, political, geographic. That sounds scary, okay? And you may even be intimidated when they say you need to see history from different views or multiple perspectives. You may see it from the immediate view, which is like right now, and then distant view, the longer story. So if I would hear that, honestly, I would panic. Before you panic, okay, think about it. The immediate view and the distant view. Immediately, if I came out of the cave, why are people wearing masks? What's Zoom? There's a pandemic going on. Zoom is a program that exists to help people communicate while they're socially distancing from their house. Again, that would be immediate. The distant view would be, hey, okay, there's something much bigger going on here. This pandemic spread throughout the world. It first was in Asia, then in Europe, it came to the United States. And historically, the way people deal with not getting germs is by not sharing them. How do we not share germs? Go all the way back to the flu pandemic of the 1920. There are articles and pictures of people trying to mask up then. Now, they didn't have Zoom, but you can go back and say, hey, there's other ways that people have communicated. They had telephones then. The radio was starting. If you want to go back to the last pandemic of 100 years ago, last big pandemic of the United States, or you would explain that there's ways people communicate, there's other things people do when they can't actually see each other in person. And again, that's how you would contextualize, and that's how you would share and explain the immediate view and distant view when you are contextualizing and giving the bigger picture with the immediate view and then the longer story. Right? So when your teacher is going to speak about context and the immediate view and distant view, if you don't like this cave thing, I have another one for it. Let's say you sat down to binge watch, because like whoever does that, part of my sarcasm, on television, right? Um, Usually at the beginning of like a TV series, there's a recap, like, in the last episode, or this happened. And what the author is doing, or the writer for the show, is they're telling you what happened in the last show so you can understand what's going now. Because, like, if you randomly have someone taking off in a spaceship at the beginning of the show and you have no idea why they're there, what's going on, I mean, you can have this great story in your mind if you, especially if you start thinking about TV shows. and the guy's going into space because he, wanted to be an astronaut. That's what he worked on his whole life. That's a more distant view. So again, you're looking for what happened before. Literally, if I came out of a cave and you plopped me down in the middle of nowhere, how would I know what's going on? So your teacher is probably going to discuss decolonization, or may discuss colonization, or if they discuss anything else, like decolonization, they may show you this clip and explain to you that this is the way you're going to contextualize it, give background on decolonization. But they may not do that. They may just do it about anything else, because anything in history, you need to contextualize. You need to say, here's what's going on before. You're looking for the bigger picture, the immediate view, the distant view. And then again, you're looking at the forces, something that acted on something else, something that caused something else to happen. And think about that. My example, that guy's taking off in a rocket ship, right? What caused that? What made that happen? Well, he went to school. It was his lifelong dream. We can think about all of that. But then again, when we do that, we are contextualizing. Again, we're constructing a narrative. Whenever we think about history, we contextualize what is going on before. And you're going to do that. You're going to really start getting to do it, because every time you take contextualization and your teacher tells you, give a background, give a process, you're going to say, I know this. That's when that crazy lady on YouTube came out of a cave. What was she thinking? I don't know. What was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. I was trying to make this easier for you. And I hope it did. It probably did. Have an awesome day, night, or whenever it is that you're watching this.